Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another vintage tips and tricks video. Today I'm going to do a requested video about different setting patterns. Now, I think when it comes to vintage styling, across the internet, there are some excellent sources of information, but I do find a lot of tutorials, including my own, amidst some of the really classic setting patterns and setting styles that create a really authentic look. As I say, I am guilty of this as well, so coming into the new year, I'm going to try and incorporate some more authentic setting patterns for you guys based on hairstyles from famous actresses that you might know, right down to setting patterns that you would have seen on everyday ladies from the 1940s and 50s. So without further ado, let's get into the main types of setting patterns and what different techniques we use to achieve those patterns. So first of all, I'm just going to show you some different patterns from the 1940s and 50s so you can get an idea of what they look like and what you might be looking for if you're searching for something on the internet. As I've said in a previous video, there is a wonderful source in Glamour Days. You can go there, get a whole bunch of different setting patterns. They actually have a free ebook that has 10 different Hollywood style setting patterns based on famous actresses from the 1950s. I'd highly recommend having a look at that. As I say, it's free. You can get an idea of the types of setting patterns that you're going to need to create certain looks. Even if you don't recreate those looks, you can get something similar or a similar result. And it will change depending on whether you have a modern or a vintage hairstyle and which vintage hairstyle you have. There were very different haircuts from the 1940s to the 1950s, as you'll particularly see in that book that I've mentioned. But if you look at the haircuts of Rita Hayworth through to someone like Elizabeth Taylor, obviously their hair is not only shorter, but the cutting style is completely different, as is the curl. And that is because different techniques were used in different eras for both the curling method and for the cutting style. Again, you can check that out on Glamour Days. I haven't collaborated with them. I would really love to, maybe I should contact them, but I just think it's a really fantastic source for anyone who's into vintage style and vintage hair. You should definitely go and check out their website. It's incredibly helpful and authentic, and that is the main thing. There's a lot of kind of like rockabilly style out there and pin-up style, but if you're really into authentic hairstyles from that era, then you should really head over there. That's what I would recommend. And I personally am really interested in that, so I like doing my research and finding out how to do it as much like it was in the 1940s and 50s as possible. Now, of course, most of us are familiar with Pincurls. The standard ones that you see on the internet are generally actually sculpture curls, meaning we want the ends of the hair to be on the inside of the curl. That's what's going to create your tightest, most long-lasting curl and give you the best vintage sets. But in the 1940s and 50s, the most standard curl was just the pin curl. That's actually where you start wrapping and the hair goes on the outside and this curl gets bigger as you go and the ends of the hair end up on the outside of the curl. That was what a lot of everyday ladies would get, and you'll get that fluffier, more natural 40s look if you use that curl. But if you want more of a Hollywood glam look, you're gonna have to perfect the sculptured curl, which is the one that you see on my channel in my pin curl tutorial. And also it's the way that I explain to wrap your curls around your hot rollers and your sponge rollers as well to make sure the ends tuck in, is going to give you a similar outcome to the sculptured curl. Then there are two different ways of actually setting your pin curls. You can set them laying flat on your head like this, and when you see diagrams with setting patterns where the curls go in opposite directions, they're referring to a flat pin curl, one that's pinned flat against your head, because then when you pin it flat against your head, you can put the curl this way or you can go the other way. Obviously, if it's a standing pin curl, when it goes that way, they actually mean forward, but you're still sitting on the root and curling in an under motion. Otherwise, you're going to get flip hair and very flat hair to your head, which is not the outcome we want. So a standing pin curl can go in two different directions, meaning when you brush the hair out, you're going to get a wave because the hair is going in two different directions as you pin curl. So the outcome will be very distinct. Whereas if you want something like a page boy, all standing pin curls going under is going to give you a much sleeker look at the back and a tuck under, and then you will put the pin curls in different directions at the front to create more of that curl around the face and that S-wave kind of look. Something that really gets overlooked, I find, in the vintage community here on YouTube when people are talking about how to do your hair in a page boy style or in a curly style or to emulate a certain movie star, is that people forget to talk about the wave. The wave is actually really important because if you look at a bunch of different pictures, which I'll give you here, you'll see that at the hairline on a lot of them, there's a little kind of ridge in the hair, and it gives this really cool shape before it goes into the roll or the pin curl or whatever the style might be, or the pompadour. And that is created by knowing how to make waves. Some of you might be familiar with the Marcel Wave. Essentially, this is like shorter versions of the Marcel Wave. That original technique that you use of brushing the hair in one direction, putting your comb in, pulling back on the hair, and then pinching it with your fingers to create a ridge, and then brushing in the opposite direction is a Marcel Wave, and that's exactly how you create a wave for a vintage set, except that instead of going through the whole hair so you get that flat to the head sculptured wave, what you're actually doing is just creating a wave, pinning it into place, half a wave or a full wave, which is just half a wave is like this, a full wave is the full kink through, like one S with 2 ridges in it, and then you're setting it, pinning your hair down, letting it dry, and then brushing it out, which is going to give you the wave in hair that's not flat to the head, but actually in your hairdo. So that's the wave and the half wave. So full wave and half wave, and different setting patterns will give you instructions to do either a full wave or a half wave, and then to get curl after your wave, you then pin curl in certain directions. So you'll get a wave and then ringlets behind it. And you'll be able to flip your hair backwards, forwards to create things like a side reverse roll, a top reverse roll, forward roll, and there's lots of things that you can do with the wave and with Pincurls. The other thing to talk about that is often missed out in vintage styling is Pompadours, which was a very 1940s look, but I really haven't seen many tutorials regarding Pompadours on YouTube. I mean, a pompadour sort of turns out like this, but everything is the opposite way around. So the hair is coming from the root here with a lot of lift, maybe with a half wave in it, and then curling back and underneath this way. Whereas today I've done a forward roll. It doesn't involve any waving. It is literally just a roll. And then I've got victory rolls, or what is called a side reverse roll, coming in this way on each side. Victory rolls create that V shape traditionally, whereas the roll just on its own is called a side reverse roll. Then of course there's teasing, and teasing is one of those things that can be quite difficult to master. But what I'm thinking is that with each of these techniques, I might do a separate video showing you how to do them and just really break it down. If you'd be interested in that, please leave a comment below, because I would be more than happy to do that. And I myself haven't done a lot of these techniques in a long time. I was really into doing this stuff when I was in my early 20s. I'll put some pictures in here of the different hairstyles that I had, and I was really well practiced at it, and I haven't done it for a long time. So I really want to get back into it, especially seeing as I have long hair, because with things like this hairdo that you'll see on me today, which is a very like 1940s style hairdo with the front roll and the side reverse rolls, or like a victory roll pin-up hairdo as it's often referred to here on YouTube. These hairstyles are much easier to do on long hair, whereas anything that's going to have a wave and bunches of curls, or if you want to get a fluffy fringe or a French fringe, you really need to have short bangs that are designed specifically for creating those rolls, which involves getting a vintage haircut, which I will do in the new year and demonstrate those to you. But for the time being, I'm going to work with long hair because a lot of you have been waiting for me to do long hair tutorials for ages, and I'm finally at a hair length where I can do them. So I'm going to continue on that for a bit, then I'll get my hair cut and I will demonstrate some of these other more complicated setting methods that involve waves and pin curling in different directions. I'm going to give you an example just from this particular picture here, but you'll see that there are several different techniques used to create this look. Big pin curls, which are just ones to give like a nice loose wave to the hair. And when I say wave, I mean like a large curl, think of like a blow wave style. So I'm kind of combining vintage terminology and modern terminology. A wave in retro style is actually that kink to the hair where you actually get like a ridge. That's what they're referring to with a wave. Whereas we're talking about more of a big curl, like a big open curl. You can use a big pin curl in a hair set, like you see at the top out of this one, to create a certain shape. And then they've used standing pin curls underneath to give a more lifted effect to that section of the hair. I would be interested in getting my hair cut in the new year and actually doing some of these setting patterns to show you the outcomes. Hopefully they work out. You've got to remember that a lot of the time I'm learning as I'm sharing with you guys as well. So I would be really interested to see what the outcome will be with these setting patterns as well. I have used some of them before when I had different haircuts, but you know, I didn't film those, so it's not much use to you guys. So I think in the new year it would be really fun to get into doing that as again, if you would like that, please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you comment below and tell me what kind of tutorials you want, whether you want it really broken down into the individual techniques or whether you like them mixed into a hairstyle, or whether I could do a technique with a hairstyle at the end. How do you think I should go about doing the videos? I mean, I have ideas of my own, but I'd like to hear how you guys like the information presented, because obviously I'm trying to help you guys out whilst also discovering things on my own. I hope you liked this video, guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and click that little notification bell so you know when my videos come out. Make sure you leave me a comment and come and join our Vintage Tips and Tricks with Miss B Townsend Facebook group. We have a great little community there. We're over 70 members now really quickly. It's only been like a week, I think, or maybe 10 days, and we've already got a good little group of people hanging out there and sharing photos of their outfits and their hairstyles. So I'm learning heaps, I'm meeting lots of people there, we're all interacting with each other, and we would love to have you come and join, so please feel free to join the group. I will leave the link below in the description. Otherwise, I'll leave the link below to the Glamour Days website. Go and check it out, they're really awesome. Give them a shout if you end up sending them a message, let them know that I sent you, and I will see you in my next video, guys. Thanks for watching, bye!